We've now come up to this segment on our show which we call the Back Page, which is brought to you by Right Team Services. From professional writing and editing to website content, social media, and grant writing, Right Team Services works with schools, businesses, and nonprofits to communicate their message clearly and effectively. If you need words that work for you, trust Right Team Services to help you find your voice. Learn more today at rightteamservices.net about how we can help you tell your story. Jack, I didn't know if you had anything that you may have seen on the Back Page that you felt was mentioning. I usually get mine from Twitter, which again, I always put out a disclaimer. If you're not on Twitter, I would advise you not getting on Twitter. It is the most toxic social media form out there. But it is good if you follow the right people for weird little news tidbits every now and then, if it's true, right? You have to always understand that for sure. And I know you're on Twitter and you deal with all of that kind of stuff, mostly from a professional level, but I think you agree with me. It has its disadvantages for sure.
Oh yeah. But yeah, hey, just one thing that came across last night I'll write about it probably I might get it online today, but Chris Davis. You remember Chris Davis, Longview Lobo?
Yes.
Made his debut with the Rangers and then had a pretty solid little career with the Baltimore Orioles.
Made a lot of money.
Made a lot of money. Still making money. He got one of those Bobby Bonilla contracts. They owe him a lot of money for several more years. But just came across yesterday, Chris Davis is going to go into the Baltimore Orioles Hall of Fame. Be inducted in July. And you look at his numbers. That kid had himself a career. I mean, he was a MVP candidate one year. I think he finished second. He was a starter in the All-Star game. He's way up there on their list of all-time home runs. Now, hey, he might strike out 5 times a game, but he might hit you 3 homers too. So I'm just really proud of that kid. I remember that kid coming into the Longview News Journal as a senior. He was our All East Texas MVP. I mean, he was as a big old kid then. Everybody thought, oh, he got on steroids. No, he never did steroids. He was suspended once because he didn't renew a medicine for, I think, ADHD. I tell people, like, get off of that, because I remember the kid in high school. He walked into as a senior and he was a full-grown man. 6'3", 240 in high school. So I debunked that really quickly for that kid. Great kid off the field too, and that's part of the reason he's going into the Orioles Hall of Fame. I mean, his numbers on the field were really good, but he's done so much for that area up there, children's hospitals and different things. Just a great kid all around, on and off the field, and I'm really, really proud of him.
Yeah. So my sons, when we were doing travel ball, I can't remember what exact age. It was anywhere from between 10 to 12. We took our little travel team down to a tournament in Round Rock, and Chris was actually with the Express, or playing with the Express. I think it was one of those times he'd either been sent down by the Rangers or he was on an injury rehab kind of deal. But of course, most of the kids we had were from this area, the Longview area and Hallsville area. And so they very well knew Chris Davis from being from Longview. And so we had seats right behind the dugout. And these kids were, it was like a Chris Davis fan club. And he hit a ball probably about as far as ever been hit down there at Dell Diamond. I mean, he turned on a pitch and hit it, out onto the highway. And you'd have thought we had won the World Series. I mean, these kids were going nuts, jumping on the dugout and everything. And it was pretty cool. As he crossed his home plate, he just kind of gave that little nod over to the kids and just kind of tipped his cap just a little bit, just enough to and that even made the kids' day even more. So anyway, it was good to see him. And I was a little bit devastated when the Rangers traded him. I'm not going to lie. I thought they were giving away a good young talent, and it showed when he ended up in Baltimore and what he did there. So
I think they gave up on it a little early there.
Yes, they did. Okay, well, just a couple things here on my end. We've had a full slate this morning, so I wanted to keep it somewhat brief. I did want to make mention, of course, last night for basketball fans out there. Of course, I don't know, I haven't really followed this much, but of course, Bam Adebayo scored 83 points, which is the number 2 now, passing Kobe Bryant. I think they were doing some stat padding in that late in the game, which has kind of caused some controversy. But 83 is 83, man. Apparently, the guy shot 43 free throws.
Yeah, you could put me in a gym and lock me in there by myself for 8 hours, and I wouldn't score 83. So
I definitely wouldn't shoot 43 free throws and
no,
make any of them for sure.
no.
But anyway, 83 points is pretty impressive. I don't care how he got there. But anyway, he passed Kobe Bryant he's now the second most points in a game in NBA history. Of course, number one is Wilt the Still, which we mentioned on this show here a few days ago. Another thing here I wanted to point out just briefly came across on my X feed yesterday, but did you know that Ohio State, look, I don't know where these people are getting this money and if it's going into academics at all, but Ohio State is now paying their assistant coaches for this next season a grand total of $15.3 million.
That's crazy.
Which their defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia, I saw another graphic yesterday. He's making just over 3.7 mil. That would put him at, if you combine NFL and college defensive coordinator salaries, he's number 3 on that list. There's a couple of NFL guys ahead of him. There's Steve Spagnuolo, who's won 3 Super Bowls at Kansas City. He has a lower salary than Matt Patricia does. Crazy, insane.
Yeah,
but they have, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 of their assistant coaches are making $1 million or more.
Hey, if you got it, do it.
Get you a natty, man. Apparently, money grows on trees when that happens.
Yeah.
I just thought that was interesting. And I wanted to make a mention here because, again, I'm a diehard Texas Rangers fan, and I'm looking for some hope, Jack. I'm looking for some hope after the last couple of years. I'm sitting here in my office, and I'm not going to take down my World Series memorabilia that I've got hanging here, including the banner on my wall over here that I get to look at every single day to remind me that we indeed have one. And so I'm looking for little nuggets of things that give me hope. And I found one in Jake Berger, who is just lighting things up in the spring. As of yesterday, he's batting .333. He's got 3 home runs, 7 RBIs. His OPS is right at 667 with a slugging percentage of well over 700. So, and all of that doesn't mean anything because in 2 weeks he can go into a slump and we can see what we saw last year. But I'm expecting Jake Berger to have a bounce back year that we were expecting last year and be a key in our lineup, which is good because we need it. We need some folks to bounce back on offense.
Yep.
And a little story about Jake Berger. He played college ball at Missouri State. My son Kobe was pitching at DBU, and he remembers Jake Berger very well. He had one of those forgettable days on the mound facing the soon to be drafted in the first round Jake Berger, who my son is a happy accountant right now, and Jake has a lot to do with that. But anyway, he enjoyed that level of competition for sure. But Jake Berger, of course, has gone on to bigger and better things with the Texas Rangers. So anyway, just wanted to mention that. Again, it's the season of perpetual hope.
There you go.
And that someone can stand up to the evil empire that has become the Los Angeles Dodgers and take one.